Hello. We are live. That's weird. This stupid reactions from Mac. All right. What do we got? We got 4 people here. All right. How's it going, everyone? Welcome, Blur. I've been using the H6 this week. Surprised how much I use it. No kidding. Mine's the H5. I did have the H8. Dylan has that now. I just kind of left it in his place. Giver. It's kind of the monstrosity that I have no use for. I have the H5, which is good enough. But yeah, the Zoom H6 was one of my favorites. Zoom H5 had a little bit better specs on it. That's why I liked it. Greetings from the UK. How's it going? Got lots to talk about today, guys. Hi. 9 people. Hey, I don't know if anyone noticed. Rick on mic. Happy Friday. I don't know if you're in the Discord, but I did post today the first giveaway that we're doing is this on Discord. This is happening on Discord. Nothing to do with YouTube. It's only on Discord. I don't like how YouTube kind of gets all antsy over giveaways. And yeah, so I'm just not going to do anything on YouTube right now. However, if you guys want this Depushang delightful piece of gear is up first. Most of the stuff is just coming as is, probably with a cable. We'll go over some of the other stuff I've got ready to give away in a second here. Are Zoom talking to me? No. Actually, was it here? 1 second. Actually, let me just check that, because if I recall, they were not. So let me see. No, they're not. I just got an email from a listener about it. Zoom is not talking to me. I would probably be in talks to have one in hand already if they were. So yeah. Poseidon, how's it going? Cheers, man. Tommy Vile, Historia, greetings from Argentina. How's it going, buddy? Got to get down to the bus stop. Got to have my bowl. Got to have cereal. Are you drunk? I don't know. Blur, Mr. Beast gets away with giveaways. Yeah, you know what? I mean, there's so many rules around it that I can't be arsed to look up. I know you're not allowed to request people to subscribe to win. Like, you can't, hey, you got to be a subscriber. That kind of stuff gets you flagged immediately. I can't even say that, I don't think. But there's a lot of other things that I just don't feel comfortable with it right now. Until I have like a YouTube manager, I probably won't. And those don't come along until you're at 100,000, I think. Greetings from Argentina. Cheers, buddy. Steve Schnetzler, good evening. How's it going, buddy? 7 a.m. waking up in the morning. Okay, I think SR 375 is just going through the music lyrics. Still persona non grata then. Yeah, you know what? And if they don't have thick enough skin to admit when they released a piece of garbage, I don't care. I'd rather pay for H5Studio than be held to a standard that I have to lie, which nah. Not drunk lyrics for Friday the song. Yes, okay, thank you. There it is. Bandrew can be a de facto manager. I'm sure Bandrew would be. Bandrew would be a fantastic manager. Dude would cross every T and dot every single freaking I. He'd be a great manager. Crazy Wabbit. How's it going, buddy? Any movement on getting the studio fixed or still with the insurance companies? This is interesting. So there was something going on that was requiring the studio or the insurance companies to basically be overwhelmed. I don't know what happened. Something probably up near Montreal, or maybe they had a storm. But the guys that were working on the basement called me and they're like, have you heard from insurance? Because we haven't. I'm like, no, I haven't. So they're like, could you call them and we're going to come pick up our dehumidifiers? So the company came, picked up the dehumidifiers, and the insurance company says they contacted them for a quote. I don't know what's going on. So I would like to have it like at least figured out before I go to NAB, which is happening next Thursday. So we shall see. So no movement, and I'm still kind of on the whether or not I do it myself or I bring in insurance to do it. Pigtown Sports. Howdy, man. You have that SM7B sounded great. I can never get mine to sound good or good enough for me. I hate my voice. Yeah, the hating your voice, it comes with time. Eventually, you're just gonna, it doesn't even phase you. As for it sounding good, Rode would be happy to hear that. These are basically the stock SM7B settings through the Rode Central with the Rodecaster video. Good God, learn how to talk. So yeah, these are just the SM7B settings with the gate turned off. So Rick on Mike, how's everything with the insurance? Did they pay up yet? Not yet. I think insurance is just waiting for a company to quote. Now, the problem is if I have mold in here, mold's already grown. So I would like for them to start going with it. We'll see. It's not moving the studio to a storage locker. No, not so. If they end up doing the work for me, it'll be done quickly. That's the bonus of having a company come in and do it. If I do it myself, happens slower, got some content out of it that I can do. There's little things you can do with that kind of stuff. Moving all the products out is just going to be a pain in the ass, but it's also got me cleaning and we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, words are hard, right? So the giveaways, Depusheng is up first. And by the way, anybody can get in on these, and you can get in on as many as you like. The Mi 6 app is going to be doing the draws on Discord, so I have nothing to do. They're just going to be doing the draws. Got the Maono G1 Neo. Whatever lucky viewer gets that one. The Pro R V7 XLR USB professional. That's professional recording microphone. I have to point out this is professional with a capital fesh. We got the Vocaster one that will be going out the door eventually. I'm doing one at a time right now so I can kind of keep ahead of this. I would like all of these, like once I get back from NAB, I kind of want to be almost done giving these away. And I got the Amplitank Tank 3 from Fafine that I'll be giving away too. Those are the 5 that I will be doing through Discord. So if you want one of them, any of them, or if maybe you just want to sell them once you get them, I really don't give a shit. If you want them signed or anything stupid like that, sure, I don't care. I just want them the hell out of my studio. So feel free to go and jump on the first one. The first one is the Depusheng, which actually isn't that bad. The Depusheng's actually, for what it is, it's actually pretty good. I'm in the UK. I guess the shipping on any item and import taxes rules me out. No, I'll ship anywhere in the world. I don't care. I've put aside about $1,000 to ship this shit. Just kind of like one of those, like, give back. If you're part of the Discord community, I don't care where it has to be shipped. You're not getting it overnight. Like, there's no chance in hell I'm going to be like ripping $300 per, but I did put some money aside. So I'm not concerned with shipping. As far as customs are concerned, I'm shipping it to a buddy, and that buddy is starting up a podcast, and at some point is going to ship it back. I'm not exactly sure when. So when customs asks, I'm lending it to you. Huh? Wink. All right. And if customs are watching this, look away. I'm an amateur. No need to enter. Oh, no, yeah. Oh, yeah, the professional. Crazy wabbit. Didn't realize you'd gone through that with the studio. Hope it's sorted soon. Yeah, you know what? It kind of sucks right now because I keep planning to do this walkthrough, but just with everything leading up to NAB being just a shit show, and I was messing around. I'm trying to get this video done for Monday. This is the Centrance Portcaster. It's just been stupid. And I want to do that walkthrough, and I don't think this place is going to get cleaned up before NAB. So I'm guessing I'll probably still have a chance to do a walkthrough after it. So Beresford, good evening. I have to get up at 5:30 on a Saturday. Gah. I hate that. My kid does synchro, and we end up having to drive them, and we wake up at 6 for that. Tomorrow, though, we got tomorrow off. So nice. Wife and I are in the process of buying a house where I'll finally have my own space for a studio. More gear is a good thing. Nice. That's amazing, dude. Yeah, you know what? Buying a house and owning a house is critical to studio builds. You getting away with all the shit on the walls, just kind of also like having like your own space that you know you're not going to have to uproot at some point is so good. I wish I had a garage for this. Like absolutely wish I had a garage. Dimebag. Yo. 14-hour shift tomorrow. Oh god. Movie thieves. I've never seen you here. Cheers. How's it going? Less gear is better, actually. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to agree with Steve there. And this is something that like I've been going through a lot. I still have my AKG P420. What's this? SR375. 100% for home ownership. The best debt you can have, in my opinion. Yep. Owning a house is epic. I still have my P420 that I love, and I kept it because I love the AKG P420. Price to performance, it's a fantastic little mic. I have the P120 as well, but I haven't plugged them in since I did the review. I think I've done the 420 once or twice for like comparisons, but I don't even do many comparisons in my videos anymore because if you want to see comparisons, look at what Bandrew does. Bandrew does the comparisons on all these mics, and I can't, like, what's the point of having me do comparisons? So yeah, like a lot of the comparisons are even out, and so I've got all these microphones. What am I doing with them? I'm not doing anything. I don't plug them in because how often do you need 20 condenser microphones? So yeah, more is not necessarily better. Less gear is definitely pretty good. Level up with Mike Newman. How's it going, buddy? Also, I don't know if I've seen you in chat. The movie thieves, I agree too. Like I've bought so many cheap mics at this point, and with confidence I can say that just save up money and go for a good one that you'll feel proud to use instead of crap. Amen. And you know what? To get a good mic, you really don't have to save up much. You just gotta get beyond. Like if you want a really good condenser microphone, 160 US dollars will get you a NT1, Rode NT1. Done. Condenser done. If you want a condenser mic that has variable polar patterns, a little bit extra. I mean, and it does open up a little bit. I believe SE has some. You really don't need a lot of money. You don't need to buy a freaking Neumann to have a great mic. I finished my attic to make space for a dedicated studio. Oh, nice. I'm looking forward to moving this studio out of the house so I can have my own place where I go to work. Not that I don't love working from, I love working from home, but also not working from home would be nice, and having the extra space would be glorious. I like your comparisons. It's good to hear other voices. Yeah, I do the odd comparison. I just don't like rip all the mics off the shelves for them. I compare what I think needs to be compared in them. And the reason for that is, again, like if you want to hear it, a microphone compared to a U87AI, watch Bandrew. I can't do that. He has way more patience for doing that kind of stuff, and he does it so well. And yeah, I do some comparisons. I still throw those in whenever I start to actually sell ad space on this channel. That's where the ad space will be during comparisons. So you'll be listening to an ad while I compare mics. I've already decided on that. It's one of the best places to put an ads because you're going to listen anyways. So, but other than that, yeah, like I'll do them when I do mics. Like I compared this, but when I did this one, I compared it to an SM58. I compared it to the old, Shure SM7B, you know, but outside of that, I'm not comparing it to everything under the sun. NT1s are great. AKG C3000. I have not used a C3000 before. I should pick one of those up. I traded in 4 channels of Behringer compression to the music store for a $50 credit. Upgrade. Sorry. Yeah, not a big fan of Behringer. Now that I'm playing some guitar, I've reincorporated my small mixing board into the system. Nice. Yeah, I was just talking to Dylan about that today. I have a want, and one of these like dreams I've always had is just setting up a mixer on my main desk. So I don't edit from my main desk. That is now just a goof around. I write there. I don't do any like audio or video editing. Oh, I do edit the podcast. Anyways, what I was thinking of doing is just having like a mixer and making that my go-to. Like, I would have everything plugged in, my PS5 through one channel, my Nintendo Switch through another, and like my record player goes through another one. So literally it would be my media hub on one mixer. And Dylan and I were talking about that. I like the idea of that. I just want to, and when I want to plug in, I can, right? I can just do that. I've spent more money altogether on cheap ones than that NT whatever mic you said. I'm going to go for a Lewitt 240 Pro. Good mic. Without plugins out of the box, it sounds like an SM7B. Yeah, you know what I mean. The Lewitt 2, anything from a main company like Lewitt, Rode, Shure, you're going to get a good microphone. I've never used the 240. I've got the 440. Sounds fantastic. Yeah. Oh, do the vase amount for that. Okay, I will. That's a good idea, actually. What's better out of box? Wave 3, Beyerdynamic, Fox, or G-Track Pro? I don't like the Wave products, although the Wave, the software that comes along with the Elgato stuff is fantastic. Never use the Beyerdynamic Fox, although Beyerdynamic, they don't mess around. They make good products. G-Track Pro, if you need to protect your house with a weapon, get the G-Track Pro. But outside of that, it's aged poorly when you put it up against other like USB microphones. So I'd say Wave 3. If save up a couple bucks, get a Pod Mic USB from Rode. That's what I would do. Yan, how's it going, buddy? Welcome back. Dimebag, left and right from the mixer into the Revelator, more effects for my singing. Yeah. Mixer into this. I just want one mixer to just combine everything on my desk, just because, you know, that's a boss move. You're like, I'm going to play some PS5, pot it up. You know, that's just cool. What do you think of WBC cables? WBC cables. Friends have been bugging me on these for a bit. Okay, 1 second. I'm not up on the cable companies. WBC cables. World's best. Oh, yeah, they look 3 foot for $55. Nah, it's a waste of money. Half a foot for $32. You gotta be kidding me. Shop in Canada. World's best cables. WBC, $32 for half a foot. No. 3 foot, $60. No, too much money. Cables are copper. Yeah, they have shielding. All cables have shielding. Outside of the Amazon Basics cables for XLR, you're wasting your money. A good example would be so 10-foot cable from Rode is $40 in Canada. That's a 10-foot cable. And even that, like, those are all the colored ones. You know, if you really want to make it pretty. But outside of like making it pretty, you can spend for a 6 foot $20 and you're fine. Do not spend a lot of money on copper. It does not make a difference for sound whatsoever. Unleash Jeremy Hansen. How's it going, buddy? I'm actually really looking forward to it. The F series preamps in it. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. I'm getting sidetracked by everybody's chat. We'll get to that in just a second. I am also lots to say. Why buy cables? Been a big fan of Blue Jeans Cable. Oh, Blue Jeans cable. Question: How to have to mic up an acoustic guitar for a last minute funeral tomorrow? Which will you go to? 440 RE20 NT1 fifth SC4100 Lawton Audio LS208. Really want to get the most out of it. So it would be between the 440 Pier, the NT1 fifth, the SC4100 would be pretty good too. The Lawton Audio LS208. Is that that's the one, the SM7B, it sounds like the SM7B. It has a low pickup. So if you want a little bit of clarity, I would bring it down to the 440 Pure or the NT1 fifth. That would give you the best clarity. I love the NT1. The 5th gen's pretty good. Yeah, so I mean, between the 440 and the NT1 fifth, then you can't go wrong. Bring both of them. if you can hook both up, and you can do a match pair. Not match pair, but you can do a pair on them. Hosa and Van Dam are the cables I've used. Hosa are cheap but quality. Yeah, as long as they don't break. I mean, and you're going to replace them every couple of years. Who cares? Yorkville, great idea. Okay. We're all basically on the cables. I'm going to step back from some of the comments here because I want to talk about, let's see if I can get it. H5Studio. There we go. Share. So everybody's seeing this, right? Let me see here. Let's go back to StreamYard. Yeah, everyone's seeing it. Okay. So this is the Zoom H5Studio. I'm going to be on a different screen. I'm not going to be able to see the comments. I will come back for them. Don't worry. But I just kind of wanted to go over a little bit of this. When they announced this big oof moment where I'd kind of given up on the fact that they were going to be replacing their H5, H6, and H4n with anything, because the H4e it looked like it was the replacement and it was a bad move. This got me really excited. I'm a big fan of this H5 specifically. So seeing something like this was a big deal for me. And of course, just from looking at it, everything's an upgrade on this unit. Everything, like physically, it looks so good. 123 dB dynamic range, 140 dB SPL. It looks so good. F-series preamps. By the way, gatekeeping preamps is garbage. We live in a world where this has neg 127 dB UA weighted, right? Yeah, it's expensive. But this is made in the US. This isn't put together overseas by cheap labor. This is put together in the US by people making more than minimum wage. There's no reason why something that is put together in another country and sold en masse with cheaper standards that is going to have preamps that are 10 years old or specs that are 10 years old. That's unacceptable. So these are showing neg 127 dB EIN, which is acceptable. That is the base mark for what we should be looking for in 2025, right? Like neg 127 should be the minimum that we should see on anything being released. You can go a little bit lower, but really you probably shouldn't be. And this is not taking into consideration some of the boutique stuff that's really expensive and that does have a noise profile that's kind of a musical noise profile. But we ain't talking about that. We're talking about crystal clarity on the preamps. Neg 127 is minimum. 32-bit float. And this is something that I'll go back to comments here because I have a feeling this is going to start up a conversation. If Midnight Wolf is in there watching as well, they went back to the knobs for 32-bit float, which I think was necessary. I think that was something they needed to do. But they seemed like they were holding on for dear life, trying to prove a point that they didn't need gain knobs, which just annoyed a lot of people. And at first I was like, it's okay. And there was a few people. Midnight Wolf is the one that I remember who really kind of stood up against that. Who's like, no, that's garbage. And yeah, I kind of have to agree. And the fact that the Essential series came out without any knobs, I thought was a shit move. So I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Gain knobs are a vibe or vital. I thought you said they were a vibe. They are vital in use. They're vital in everyone's use. What is the minimal gain the PodMic XLR needs? You have, if you're not using a Rode, you're talking USB or you're talking XLR, I think it's about the same as an SM58. So quality is a guarantee. That's good. Kinda. 32-bit float. Yeah, that's a dime bag. 32-bit float is fantastic. LOL studio quality, quote unquote. Yeah, and you know what I mean? If you compare that to the Essential series, Of course, it's studio quality. Just seeing them walk back on the 32-bit float knobs, though, really makes me feel good. I still maintain that this here is the only one of the only ways rolling out 32-bit float makes a lot of sense. Like with the little wireless stuff, like the Rode Wireless Pro, that's great. 32-bit float integration, that is awesome. This kind of stuff where audio may not be predictable, and field recorders are a perfect example of that. That's where well, there's the guarantee. I need to fiddle with my gain knob. Yeah, exactly, right? I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, 32-bit float on these is fantastic. Having 24-bit and 16-bit. I don't really know who defaults to 16-bit anymore, but I mean, I guess just throwing it in there. But 24-bit float is very cool. 6 tracks up to 192 kilohertz. That is absolutely fantastic. Though I think the H6 and H8 went up to 192, and I think maybe even the H5. RF shielding, which is actually like, this is the kind of stuff that I kind of roll my eyes with, because why wouldn't it have RF shielding, you idiots? But then at the same time, it's Zoom, so cool, thanks. You never know with Zoom. Maybe they decided they don't want to put shielding in on the unit, because I'm pretty sure the Essential series doesn't have very much shielding. Advanced limiters, look ahead limiters, also very cool. Also something that with 32-bit float is fantastic. 2 locking XLRs, 48-volt phantom power, 4 dBu line level, 3.5 millimeter stereo jack with plug-in power, all things that are necessities. And the next generation capsule system, which kind of irritated me when they released the Zoom H6 Essential, because they've redone these capsules 3 times now. It'd be nice to see them stop with one. The wireless thing, getting the WLM 1-inch dual channel wireless system is actually kind of an epic move on their part. Making all that integrated is really cool. That's something I do want to get my hands on. I'm probably going to go broke with the H series now, buying them all and doing reviews. Audio interface, Sync Smart, all this stuff, premium features. And that's actually should be noted. The batteries still with the 4 AA's. And they're saying 15 hours of recording on 4 AA alkaline batteries is pretty damn good. And power through the USB port as per usual, which is necessary. Basically, this is the next gen. This is the next Zoom H series. What did I just open up? God damn it. Let's go back over. There we go. Yeah. Zoom H5Studio. Thoughts. And damn, there's a lot of, oh no, we ran out of comments. Okay, cool. What if Zoom had released the Essential series before or after they'd released the Zoom H5Studio, which looks to be, no, I haven't been hands-on, but it looks like the actual follow-up, what should have been released as a follow-up of the Zoom H5 or Zoom H8. I don't really include the H8 because it's such a unique monster. But the Zoom H5 came out in 2014. This Zoom H5Studio is the it's the rightful completely lost the word. It's the rightful replacement for the Zoom H5. The Zoom HE series kind of pissed me off, because what are you guys doing? It's been 10 years and you're releasing products with the exact same gear that you released 10 years ago, but with updated plastic. I don't know if I'd been as upset about the Essential series had they released this first. I don't think I would have panned it as badly. It would have been annoying. It would have been like, why are you releasing this But at least, you know, with the Zoom H5Studio out, if you wanted to upgrade. But there was no indicator that there was anything coming beyond the Essential series. So how many people bought the Essential series and now are going to buy the H5Studio? Clubford, hi, Discord link, please. It's in every video I do, man. You can get in. Literally every video, it's in the description. If it's not working in the description, let me know and I'll go find it. And I'll put it in the comments of this, not in the live comments, but the comments. Zoom drivers are always shite, sadly, so I can't use them in Ableton. That's sad. I've never had an issue with Zoom drivers. I don't really use it as an interface, though. I never really have. I've always taken the card out and transferred the audio over. Would you read a bit up? I asked a question there, would really appreciate the answer. The movie theaters. Hey, if I don't get to it, just tag me in it. I'm guessing it's this 240 Pro costs $99. Yeah, but I have a problem. It's 24-bit mic and I have a 16-bit mixer. It's pretty solid with 50 dB of gain. I got $50. You think it'll give a close sound to 24-bit? Here, the movie thieves, there's no such thing as a difference in sound between 16-bit and 24-bit. There's no sound quality doesn't come into the equation. Bit depth in its most uncomplicated form is the amount of volume information within it. So you get better dynamic range. It has nothing to do with sound. So sound quality in 16-bit and 24-bit, if you get a person to listen to a 16-bit MP3 and then you get a person to listen to a 24-bit MP3, people wouldn't be able to hear the difference. Like nothing. 16-bit 44.1 is CD quality. So, right? Like when you're looking for more distance between the quietest sound and the loudest sound, that's when you start getting into 24-bit. When you're doing studio quality mixing and mastering and recording for a studio album, that's when 24-bit becomes particularly important. Even like podcasts, 24-bit is particularly important. Yeah, I'm guessing you have the PodTrack P4. 16-bit's going to do you just fine. Don't worry about it. And you can, most people are fine with 16-bit audio. You got a ton of people down here basically saying the same thing as me. So I wouldn't worry too much about 16-bit versus 24-bit when it comes to sound. So please do a DeWalt adapter for Zoom. That's a great freaking idea. SR375, can you message me on Discord? I'm pretty good with a lot of that kind of stuff like that when it's physical. I know you're more into the programming, but when it's physical, I'm pretty good at that. Maybe we can kind of brainstorm. I'll also bring Dylan in on that. That'll actually be a lot of fun. Which, by the way, I don't know if I saw Dylan in the comments. He's fired. Wait, can I fire him still? I don't know. Joe Audio, why would you want your mic out of box to sound like an SM7B unless, of course, you buy a 7B at the Movie Thieves? No offense to the 7B, though. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. 7Bs do not sound great when they're raw. So unless you're able to add production to it, if you can produce the sound, a 7B is kind of useless. Like when I turn off here, I'll actually do this right now. I'll go in here. Let me turn processing off. There we go. There's the processing of the 7B. So this is with processing off, and this is with processing on. Once again, processing off, and once again, processing on. So yeah, it makes a huge difference. Do you think we'll get a Zoom H6 refresh? Yes. Or is this it for now? I think this is going to be it for now. What could replace the Zoom H6 with 32-bit podcast studio in your hand? I mean, if you really desperately need 32-bit, in your hand, not really much. Isn't the Tascam? I don't think the Tascam's 32-bit, is it? I could be wrong. The X6. I don't think the X6 is 32-bit. No. For in your hand 32-bit float, not much. Why do you need the Zoom H6 with 32-bit though? Is it just the amount of inputs? Because with the H5, you can get the capsule, the secondary capsule for 2 more inputs. So you would have 4 inputs on a Zoom H5Studio. So yeah, like if you need that, maybe let chat kind of fill that in as well. And Spotify mostly is low quality audio. No shit. Most of my Zoom H6 uses multi-miking amps, recording samples and voice, but it's nice to have the interface Zoom advertised. Yeah, the Zoom H5Studio is looking like a hell of an upgrade on if you're utilizing it that much. But if you're multi-miking and stuff, the Zoom H8 is great and it's cheap right now. I think it's going to be cheaper than the Zoom H5. And I think you've got 8 input. Yeah, it's an 8 input. It's fantastic. It's very, very, or is it 6? I think it's a 6 or anyways. Yeah, because with the 4 on top, it's 10, if I recall. Anyways, the Zoom H8 is fantastic. It's neg 125 dBA weighted on the EIN, which is a decent upgrade. And when you're doing drums and stuff like that, it shouldn't matter too much. Yeah. So much better with processing, right? The SM7B, like this is still a touch muddy. This is just once again the standard processing that is included with Rode in their Rode Central. So it sounds good. I could use a little bit more sculpting, but it sounds fantastic. 99% of listeners can't tell the difference in 16 or 24. There is no sound difference in 16 to 24. Post-processing their audio. Yeah, 16 to 24 is all in post-production. That's what matters with 16 versus 24. There's no sound benefit if you, for the most part, in a lot of podcasts, there's no benefit to it either, unless you have a lot of dynamic range in your podcast. And for most people that aren't making money on their podcast, a PodTrack P4 is going to be just fine for you. The X6 is 32-bit. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Yan. It's been so long since I reviewed the bloody thing, and I didn't want to even turn. I don't know. Do I even have batteries in this? Oh, shit, I do. Hey, let's see if it turns on. See how good this thing is at holding its battery. Hey, it's powering on. No shit. Tascam Porta Capture X6. Yeah, baby. So yeah, there you go. Oh man, it's still got 2/3 of its battery. Damn, look at that. Yeah, so Zoom H, the Porta Capture X6 works. Their X8 is a little bit more expensive. I have a feeling though, with the Zoom H5Studio coming out, you're going to see a bit of a dip on the price on the X series by Tascam. I meant like I got the base. What are you using for processing? For my processing, is all the Rode stuff, Rode Central. So I'm using the Rodecaster video for this whole production here. And in that, on the Rode Central, you can go in and you can just, and basically any Rode mics, USB mics, or Rode interfaces, anything that interfaces with your computer, you will have access to this. Streamer X, Rodecaster Pro, Rodecaster Duo, you will have access to all this processing. Tascam X6 is 32-bit. Thank you, everybody. Appreciated. X8 is 32-bit also. Yeah. If you need the extra, I don't think they have the removable capsules. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not as deep on the Tascam line as I want to be. I've got to get more cozy with them. I've got a guy there that I talk to. It's just he's so busy all the time. Always preferred the 57 or the 7B. I almost used the 57. I'm using this because I was reviewing the Portcaster by Centrance. And what had happened was I originally set this up with the RE20, and I finished the video and I'm like, holy crap, it's all distorted. Why is it distorted? So I thought this was distorting. Turns out after a day of like chasing my tail, I was like, oh crap, my RE20 is distorting. That's shitty. So I was looking for another mic, and I found my 57, but I couldn't find the cool little thing for the top, the pop filter. So I just ended up unboxing this. I have not had this out of box since I reviewed it. I just used here's my original SM7B. So I was like, why not? I'm using this for this entrance because I had to kind of test out the preamps on it. So figured I would keep it on for the live stream. The only application I found for 32-bit is recording live events when you don't have the opportunity to set levels before and you have no idea how loud something is going to get. Yeah, Dan, you're right. Live recording, field recording is much the same. Basically, anywhere where you have audio that can get out of hand. The wireless recorders are great for it. They're fantastic. Like any wireless recorder. That was with the Sennheiser Profile. When I saw those come out at 24-bit, I was like, nah. They have safety channels, but 32-bit float is so much better. And shout out to Rode because they have the 32-bit float, but you can export all the 32-bit float down to 24-bit, which basically just, if you have any peaks in the 32-bit float, it processes all those peaks out, meaning you get perfectly good 24-bit audio to edit with. And yeah, it's fine. It's actually like, that's where I see like 32-bit float kind of belonging in the world. Live sound, I mean, if you're doing recording live events and you didn't have a chance to do your levels, yeah, probably SOL. I mean, considering the boards, but for the most part, yeah. 32-bit, I guess a 32-bit float on something like this, you can record off of a live board anyways, so who really cares? Zoom H6 could go to 6 XLRs with the 2 additional. I would love to see the new one with auto gain, so podcasting for solo operator would be set and forget. Yeah, if you need 32-bit float, and I know a lot of podcasters are kind of hankering to get in on that, but I mean, you should be learning how to set your levels regardless. And I know I harp on that, but yeah, the set and forget would be nice. I will have to say 24-bit on this thing, but these things are set and forget. Video coming up. The Tascam X8 top capsule can be removed. Thank you. Everyone's correcting me today. I love it. Blake, good day from Montreal. Cheers, buddy. 2 hours down the road from me. By the way, does anyone know what happened to Booth Junkie, who was big on the Zoom recorders? I don't know what happened to Booth Junkie. Dudes, I'm just looking this up. He's very, very good at voiceover, meaning he's probably got work. 11 months ago was the last one. I'll look into it. I think I've talked to him on Twitter since, but I'll reach out to him. Booth Junkie's very, very busy with voiceover work, and dude's got great set of pipes. But yeah, I haven't even noticed it, man. I don't watch a lot of audio on YouTube anymore. None of my kit has 32-bit float. I did think about getting some upgrades, but I use 48K 24-bit across my environment. Yeah, me too. I have options with 32-bit float. I do know that it's going to, like, the future of audio is 32-bit float. Nothing is beyond this. It's becoming the standard, and that's fine, as long as it's not being used as marketing hype, because it's kind of BS marketing hype. Outside of this stuff where 32-bit float is super awesome, I don't know how many times where I've gotten distorted audio doing electronic news gathering. I used to work for CBC doing they had these programs they used to do where they would send me out to just get the audio and to record an event and to talk to people about what they're doing, and then they would create a story out of the audio that I got. And I would have my H5 and I would go out and my H5 would get audio, but you can't ride the gain on an H5. You're sitting there, you've got your hand up in the air with your recorder getting the room noise, and something loud happens, you're not riding the gain for it. And so when processing the audio, you're running it through RX so you can get rid of some of that distortion, and you're doing this 32-bit float, you just gain the shit down. That's awesome. And that's what we need more of. I'd like to think he's too busy to post, Beresford. Yeah, I believe so. I would like to think that the audio community would have heard something if it's anything else, and I don't even want to go there. So I'll reach out to him and I'll see how he's doing. That's actually a fair question though, and I know Bandrew might be here. Bandrew, you might be able to have you might have a little bit more of a direct line to him. So if you're hearing this, Bandrew, you should reach out to him too. Tascam Frav2 is also 32-bit and has same EIN as Zoom H5Studio. Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing. Tascam, they don't get enough respect. Like Zoom H4, the Zoom H5, and the Zoom H6 are all basically over 10 years old, right? I think the Zoom H6 is 11 or 12. Oh, excuse me. The Zoom H4n is like 13 years old. And they all have about the same EIN of neg 120, neg 121. I think the XLR or the XY capsules are even worse. Like these things are like I think they were at like neg 116 or something like that. Like just brutal on the Zoom lineup. And these guys came out with the X series, I think in like 2019, 2020. And these things were fantastic. This is neg 125 DBUA weighted right there, which is kind of like in 2020, that's what you wanted. Neg 125 was perfect. So, and I don't think they get enough love for that. I think it's also, these were a little bit more expensive than a lot of people were expecting, but still. Yeah, great VO artist. Yeah, dude's got pipes. The Junkie recovered and is now living a happy life with his family. Yeah, he's no longer a junkie for booths. It was hard, man. Why don't we just go for 64-bit float? Actually, the next is 32-bit float, like 32-bit audio, no float. So no floating point up until 120. Yeah. 32-bit is ridiculous. 32-bit float is basically, it's not 32-bit, but it's got a floating decimal. Basically, that's where the float comes from. So when it needs to, it moves the decimal over. So that when you peak, it's dropping a decimal one back. So it's basically just a floating decimal point. Maybe at NAB 2030. Yeah, you know what? I mean, hey, if you need to record a jet engine from 1 foot away and a mosquito fart from 3 feet away, 64-bit float might be what you need. Love Tascam recorders, so intuitive and easy to use. Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's Joe. The one thing that Zoom always had on Tascam was usability. The Zoom recorders you could do anything with. And Tascam, while offering better physical units, they weren't as universal for what they could do. Now, for the average user, I like Dylan was one of the non-average users. Dylan like used everything in the H series with Zoom. Like with the H8, he's like digging in and like setting everything up perfectly for just him. But for me, I never use that stuff in the Zoom, like recording what was it? I like using some of the compression and all that stuff and all. I always did that in post. And yeah, anyways, Tascam never really had as much depth to their recorders. So that was the one thing that they kind of fell short on. But again, I think that 99% of people don't really give a shit. I took the capsules off my H6. It's okay with loud percussive sounds, but voice is a no-no. You know what? My Zoom H5, I actually did some voiceover stuff with it that I got paid for. They were fine. I had to denoise them, but looks like Booth Junkie is active on his Discord. I see a post from him 322. Perfect. So he's just too busy for friggin' YouTube, which, you know what? I get it. I know a lot of people don't understand why but dude probably makes a lot more money doing voiceover than he does on YouTube. Voiceover can be very freaking lucrative if you have the right abilities and the right contacts. I want to know about recording mosquito farts. Don't we all, buddy? You need a piezo for that. New podcast idea, mosquito farts. Well, it's, I mean, I'm glad Booth is busy. Yeah, amen to that. 32-bit float, or sorry, recording really, really like quiet stuff is really important, like mosquito farts aside. The ability to get the clarity on whispers and stuff like that is really, really cool. Do rats burp? Yes, they do actually. I've had a rat. Well, I didn't. My child had rats. They don't belch though. That is not what they do. Stop screen sharing. There we go. A study about mosquitoes' influence in global warming. Jorge or George or Jorge. I'm not exactly sure which one it is ever. Cheers, buddy. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, so the H5Studio, I will be having it. I'm going to see if they actually have it in at NAB next week. I'm going to be hitting, they're probably going to be set up at the B&H booth. Zoom rarely goes, even on their website, they're like NAB 2017. So I'll probably be hitting up, if they do have a booth, I'll hit it up, but it'll probably be B&H. And if I can buy one at NAB, I will buy one, so we don't have to worry about it. Portuguese George. Hi. I don't know what that means. Is that George? George? Portuguese. Jorge would be Spanish. Anyways, I've known a few Georges and I've known a few Jorges. That's where it really messes with my head. Be sure to visit the Grass Valley booth at NAB. Will do. Yes. So Beresford, comment of the day. I love that. That was fantastic. The complete audio chain would need some serious improvements to take advantage of true 32-bit or higher recording. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, we do see now on the horizon, there's a lot of movement towards 32-bit float. Basically, any interface from a reputable company that's coming out now is going to be utilizing 32-bit float because, and this sounds really bad, even if you don't need 32-bit float on the 5th gen Focusrite, Focusrite knows that they don't want somebody that doesn't understand it to think that it makes them less. So even a company that, like, you don't need 32-bit float on a Focusrite. So I got my basic bitch water. You don't need 32-bit float on a Focusrite, but I've had comments from people saying, "Oh my God, why would I buy X? It's old technology," referring to 24-bit, which is wrong. 24-bit is not old. 32-bit float is just it's not a new technology per se. And I think a lot of companies fear that. They fear that ignorance from community, and that's fair. So I think going forward, you're going to see every company jumping on the 24-bit bandwagon just for that purpose. And you know what? I can't blame them. It started out as a bit of a marketing bullshit approach. Like voiceover specifically does not need 32-bit float. If you're a voiceover artist, you're setting your own game. You know what you're doing. So yeah, and yes, to take advantage of true 32-bit, but you don't need true 32-bit. Even if you're recording the loudest band in the world, you don't need it. What's the difficulty for recorders getting better EIN to say match that of interfaces? That is a great fucking question, Mr. Joe Gooch. The problem is, and I'll actually use the Centrance Portcaster for an example, is size. When you have something of this size, everything gets closer. So everything kind of gets packed into a smaller product. And the closer everything is the more chance you have for noise. And that's basically the EIN is the measurement of the noise coming out of the preamp, right? So it's not necessarily you buy a preamp and it's just got better noise. If the whole product itself is creating noise, that lands on the preamp noise, right? So over engineering something like this has neg 127 dBUA weighted, which by the way is, in my opinion, good enough to do anything. You can do voiceover with neg 127 dBu. You can do voiceover less, but the bare minimum for 2025, I think, is neg 127 dBu, and I don't think like the absolute limit is neg 133. So that's 6 dB difference, right, between the ultimate that we can't physically go beyond and neg 127. That's a 6 dB window that products in 2025 should be releasing in. But when a company looks at over engineering, this is neg 125, and this is, I mean, this is obviously about 5 years old. If a company was going to over engineer this, now the cost of this is going to go through the roof. So as things get smaller and things get better at not producing noise, as we get more innovation within not just the audio industry, but the electronics industry, you'll see that stuff get better and better. Was Zoom able to, in 2024, able to release a product that didn't have neg 121 dBUA weighted on their handheld devices? Yes. Could you release a handheld device with better than neg 127 dBUA weighted? Yes. But whether or not it's going to be a price to performance issue that's where you kind of get hooked. That's why this thing got a pass in 2024 for having neg 125, is because, well, okay, for them to start over engineering this, you're running into a lot more issues. One of them is cost. So yeah, so it's basically size. The more you space everything out, the less probability for noise you have. IRC RME is testing true 32-bit. Wow. Of course RME is. And that's stuff you're going to pay for. You think the mic they used in USA, We Are the World, would still hold up today? That's a good question. Mic used in We Are the World. Now, before I search this, I'm going to say it was an ARA ribbon. We Are the World, producer Quincy Jones used an AKG C12. Yes. The AKG C12 would hold up. You cannot buy the C12 anymore, I do not believe. Anything basically built before 1980. The AKG C12 VR large 11,020. Yeah, I think you could do a podcast with it. I think it would be good enough for a podcast. Yes. So older microphones like that, like the C12, actually, good time to bring up this. This is the K2 by Rode. This is got a little, yeah, that's coming. Don't worry. Older mics like that, that existed back in the 60s, 50s, the AKG C12 goes way back. Those are fantastic microphones. They're going to be a little noisy, but they're just going to have gorgeous sound to them. Thing is, it all starts with analog, and now we'll have issues with RF interference. Yeah. RF interference is your biggest problem, especially proximity. I have a weird question, but what's a good music making program that lets me make my own royalty-free music? Damn. Transgirl Bacon. That is a wicked name. A music making program. That depends on how much you want to learn. Most DAWs allow you to create music within them. Piano roll. So like a free program would be GarageBand. You can create music with GarageBand. MIDI, if you have MIDI, any program works, but free, let's say free, Reaper or GarageBand, I would say. The learning curve do be steep, especially with Reaper. GarageBand is a lot more user-friendly, but Reaper is fantastic. And yeah, like you're creating music, there's going to be a steep, using the piano roll. Unless you're really good with theory, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve. Learning MIDI as well has a bit of a learning curve as well. So, but don't lose faith. Keep going. Keep learning. It doesn't take long. And, you know, I mean, give it a couple years of putting shit out, and you might find that you get pretty good at it. Zoom being kind of innovative yet kind of retro as per usual. Yeah, Zoom. If only they would actually talk to me. Warm and a few others do C12 copies. Yeah, and you know what I mean? C12 copies are pretty good. I think the C12 could be used to record mosquito farts. I don't think so, actually. Their noise floor on those older C12s would probably preclude. If I was going to do a proper mosquito fart, I'd go U87 AI. I'm just saying. NT1 would work. Because actually, you know what? NT1 would be better than a U87 AI for mosquito farts, because the NT1 has the lowest noise floor out of all mics. I believe it's 4.1 dB or 4.5 dB if I recall. Bacon. Yeah, right. Transgirl Bacon. Try Reaper, Ableton, or Cubase. I don't know Ableton or Cubase very well, but I know that they work for. I don't use them. I use Fruity Loops. A lot of people use. The other DAWs are expensive, but they have really good trials. Yeah, Reaper is fantastic, and it costs $60 for the full version. Also, Logic Pro, if you're into Paint, Audacity can be used in a pinch as well. I didn't know you could do that with Audacity, but yeah, Logic. I use Logic. GarageBand ain't bad, man. It's not bad whatsoever. Loving my NT1, added googly eyes for Zoom. I gotta do that. That's a great fucking idea. AKG C411 PP or mosquito farts, just tack it to its back. Nice. All right, guys. You know what? Been an hour. Thank you for that. It's been a lot of fun. Hit up the Discord. I've been seeing my Discord kind of pop off a little bit while we've been sitting here. Now, just a reminder, I no longer have Discord on my phone. I ended up getting a iPhone, so I no longer have Discord on my phone. I've got to put it on my phone, and I'm pretty slow at doing that kind of shit. So I have been negligent with Discord. So if you message me on there, I'm going to try to keep Discord open on my computer. But if you're tagging me and shit, or you join the Discord, I'm going to be relatively busy on there for the next few weeks, aside from being at NAB. So get on there. The first giveaway is pinned on the Dark Corner Studios, and you can find it basically in the description of any video. If it's not there, just drop a comment tagging me and I'll make sure you get it. But yeah, it's out there. Cheers, guys. Have yourself a great week. And we won't see you next week because I'm going to be live from NAB. But the week after that, I will be definitely doing a live stream. I might do a live stream at NAB. We'll see. Cheers, guys.